Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Over the past several decades, the one thing I've discovered in working and meeting with thousands of savers is that being single and having to go it alone in retirement is a real-life circumstance for those who are already single, as well as those who are currently married but one day will be single due to the death of their spouse. Over the past 2 weeks on the Worry-Free Retirement, we've shared with you several different case studies we call the Whiteboard Show, and of the real-life retirement planning situations I run into on a regular basis, and how we at Tony Walker Financial help to map out a strategy so that those savers could be worry-free. Today, we conclude our Whiteboard series with one of the more common retirement planning cases I work on. In fact, in 2022, we had 50 such cases just like this one, the very real-life situation when a spouse loses their mate and has to go it alone in retirement. As you can imagine, with over 3,000 clients at Tony Walker Financial, most of whom are over the age of 55, it isn't any wonder that we have to deal with the death of loved ones on a regular basis. So, whether you are already single or worried about becoming single and all the financial decisions you'll have to make on your own, let's look at our final case study as we go to the whiteboard and see exactly what we're dealing with. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement, and I am your host today, that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before we walk over to the whiteboard and show you what you can't see on the radio, I know this doesn't make sense, folks, hang in there with me, let me introduce to you America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander. Good morning, Aaron.
Hey, good morning, sir, and good morning to our audience.
Did you run into anybody over the weekend again?
No, not this week. Nope.
Did you get out of the house this weekend? Maybe that was the question.
Yeah, I was out a little bit. Not much, though.
And we are recording this show, by the way, folks, the day after the 4th of July, July 5th, 2023. It looks like you've got all your digits, no accidents with fireworks. Or
yeah,
you're
that's
not a
right.
big fireworks
No, I'm accident-free.
guy. Yeah.
Accident-free.
I don't mind watching a few fireworks, but I'm just not a big fireworks guy.
So you're going to tell me that you don't have no black cats? No Roman candles or screaming Mimis?
I mean, I remember years ago, this was a long time ago, we were up in the cul-de-sac of one of our neighbors, and I was sitting, we were way back. I'm talking probably 50 yards, Aaron, and this is like a nightmare. Luckily, now he's our oldest boy, but at the time, Philip was real little, and he didn't get drastically injured, but it was scary. They were shooting off these big bottle rockets, going straight up in the air out in the cul-de-sac. We're way over these lawn chairs, probably 50 yards away. One tips over, and it's like slow motion. That thing is coming right at us.
Bag up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry. Put it in reverse. Oh, Lord.
You act like you know what you would do when that happens. We all just sat there and stared, and it literally hit Philip in the chest.
Oh.
It scared us to death. It did burn him pretty good, but he's lived to tell about it. But, that's a scary moment. But speaking of scary moments, this topic today we're talking about is going it alone. Aaron, I know at your age, you're probably not thinking about such matters. Unfortunately, we had 50 death claims we had to help process at Tony Walker Financial. But being at your young age, don't want to try to mess with your mind here on this beautiful Wednesday morning, but do you ever think about what it might be like for Jessica if something were to happen to you? And she just has to kind of go it alone. Pretty scary thought, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I've thought about it, especially with us being a single income home. Yeah, I've definitely thought about that, tried to put a plan in place for that. So, yeah, I have thought about it a little bit.
Yeah, well, and maybe that's you out there right now. You might be sitting there saying, well, gosh, I'm already single, Tony. I've been single a long time. Maybe you lost a spouse years ago. We have some people who've never been married. They're single, approaching retirement, divorced. Or as this case study we're getting ready to talk about, this is a young lady in her early 60s who unexpectedly, I mean, her spouse was, I think, 63 at the time he passed this year, in really good health up until just a few months ago when he was diagnosed with serious cancer, inoperable cancer, and recently passed away. So, we don't want to be the bearer of bad news. We're not trying to mess up your day, folks, but we have to be, live in a real world here. Things can happen, and this is a retirement planning show. So the idea is to get you prepared for the unexpected, which is what we do. So what I'm going to do, by the way, Aaron, tell folks how they can watch the TV show, because literally we are going to our whiteboard on the TV show, also the YouTube channel. I'll be having to describe what we're talking about on the whiteboard since this is the radio show, but tell them a little bit more about our TV show.
Sure, folks, if you want to catch the television show live, that's really easy to do. All you got to do is go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on the drop-down menu right up there in the top right-hand corner, and there'll be a thing in the list that says TV and radio show times. Just click on that and find your favorite station and what time it's coming on. If you can't make that time, that's not a problem too, because we post all of our past television shows on YouTube. So all you got to do is go to youtube.com. That's youtube.com. And right there you'll find a list that says episodes of the Worry-Free Retirement, and just click on those and have a great time watching.
All right. Well, thank you, Aaron. So let's get back to the case study. I'm going to describe what we're dealing with. This young lady is 61. Again, was married to her spouse for 35 years. Back in April, he passed away. They were not clients of Tony Walker Financial, but this was ironic, Aaron. They watched the show on a pretty regular basis. So I guess it's one of those things. I asked her, she said, well, we contacted you now because really we just felt like we didn't need any planning. I understand that. Her husband was still working, making $120,000 a year. She, for the most part, was a stay-at-home mom. He was going to work another 4 or 5 years were his plans, because he wanted to try to pay down a lot of debt, get that debt paid down, and just didn't think about retirement because it was kind of far away out there. Does that make sense, Aaron? I mean, I get that. Although I would say, folks, if you are, here's our sweet spot of really helping people in retirement planning. This is, all we do is retirement planning. And again, maybe we'll have a show at some point to describe the difference between someone like Tony Walker Financial, a trained retirement specialist, versus maybe a stockbroker or money manager, or maybe the guy at the bank or gal at the bank that really doesn't work in the retirement planning field. It's a big difference in terms of our training. But that's what she said. She said, well, I didn't really think about it because we weren't planning on retiring soon. So again, over 55, you probably need to get with us and start getting those things in motion, especially as you watch this whole incident play out. So let's see. He was making around $120,000 a year, had about $300,000 in his 401k plan. She worked at home most of her life, stay-at-home mom, worked a little part-time. So she has about $50,000 in a Roth IRA. They have about $30,000 in the bank. They owe about $200,000 on their house, $15,000 on one car, $5,000 in credit card that's on a real low interest rate. Fortunately, he had through work. He didn't own any individual life insurance, but he had a pretty good sizable policy through work of $500,000. She has already received that. Folks, that's the beauty of life insurance. I hate to say this, but it's hard for an insurance company to dispute a claim. Incidentally, Aaron, I won't name the name of the insurance company. My mom, who lives in Lexington, had a big tree fall on her house. And same thing, it took a long time to get the claim resolved. Have you ever had to deal with an insurance company on like a homeowner's claim?
No, haven't had to deal with that yet, knock on wood.
Yeah, it can be tenuous, but they finally got it all squared away. They finally cut a check, but I mean, this went on for weeks. Well, folks, when you die with life insurance, as long as you can provide a substantiated certified copy of a death certificate, they're going to turn that money loose. So she has already received the $500,000 life insurance. It's tax-free. She put it in her checking account at the bank. By the way, Aaron, do you think some green lights went off at the bank when she deposited $500,000?
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine.
I used to describe that. I have a degree in psychology, and one of my favorite studies that was done that I used to study was Pavlov. And I described the whole thing of walking into a bank with a large check as Pavlov's slobbering dogs. If you're not familiar with that experiment, what Pavlov would do is he'd set a dog there, and he'd set food down, and then he'd ring the bell. Have you heard this, Aaron?
Yes.
Okay, let me describe it for people. This is funny. So he'd ring the bell with the food there. The dog would be chained looking at the food, And he kept doing that, and the dog would salivate because he was getting ready to eat the food. But then Pavlov tried something. He removed the food, rang a bell, and guess what the dog did, Aaron?
Just ringing the bell caused him to salivate.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when you ring that bell, when you drop a big load of money in the bank, you can rest assured they're going to take you down the hall to try to get you to invest it. So be very, very careful in just running and investing cash in the bank. We're going to talk about found money on our show next week. This was really kind of found money. I don't even think she knew he had this much life insurance, because the green lights will go off and the folks are going to slobber. The ring bells are going to go off and chime when you bring that much money in. So anyway, I told her to hold off. Don't do anything with that $500,000 yet. And this was kind of her concerns. The house they lived in, she wasn't sure if she wanted to stay there. It was a pretty good sized house. It was kind of their dream home, but she's already thinking, okay, do I really want this big of a home and the maintenance? So that was one of her concerns. The other concern, legitimate concern, is she doesn't have health insurance now, Aaron. Think about that. He had the health insurance. He's dead and gone. She doesn't have health insurance. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, so doesn't have health insurance. Social Security. She can draw on his Social Security, but she wanted to know, should she wait? What should she do on that? And then finally, just this whole idea of these debts and cash flow. So imagine going from your spouse, bringing home a paycheck and making good money and everything's case sera, to all of a sudden that paycheck is stopped. You don't have any health insurance. You got this big wad of cash sitting in the bank that everybody's wanting you to invest. So what are you to do? Well, when we come back, we're going to diagnose this case and go take a deep dive to help you understand her concerns, what the concerns of any single person is out there that's going it alone, and how we at Tony Walker Financial, through our written game plan and our expertise in retirement planning, can help you get on the road to a worry-free retirement. I'm Tony Walker. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
My name is Shannon Ross, and I'm the Investment Services Coordinator for Tony Walker Financial, which means I take care of all the brokerage accounts for our firm. In an ongoing effort to develop and use innovative and efficient tools to better serve clients, a recent partnership with DocuSign was established. This gives clients a safe, convenient method to complete many documents needed for account establishment or maintenance electronically. Not only does it reduce the potential security risk of information being sent by postal mail, it also makes paperwork completion and processing much quicker for you. The process of completing documents online via DocuSign is simple and can be done right from your phone, tablet, or personal computer. You will receive an email directly from DocuSign, and you simply follow the prompts to complete your documents. For added security, you will receive a text message with a code you'll need to input to proceed. Once you have accessed the document needing your completion, the system directs you to any and all areas needing your initials, signature, and date. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us through our website, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call us at 877-499-9255. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks, to the Worry for Retirement. I am America's favorite financial sidekick. Tony, I got our live well, die broke moment here, and I got to share this with you because I kind of don't believe it. It says, Tony, you're not going to believe this, but on the way to your office, we stopped for lunch at a Chinese restaurant, and upon getting our check, we were handed this fortune cookie, and we just thought you'd get a kick out of what it said.
All right, so here's the actual fortune cookie. I want you to read this, Aaron. There you go. It's proof. Go ahead.
Yep, got it in my hands, folks. Here it says, you will chart a new path towards independence today.
Pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. They laughed at that, and I said, hey, must mean we're meant to work together.
That's
and they
right.
laughed, and they said, okay. Well, you know me, Aaron. You know how I love gadgets and gizmos and trinkets to give to prospective clients?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I decided to do. I've asked our own Gina Tutwiler, who's in charge of researching such gadgets and gizmos. She has contacts with various folks that can make these. I had her order 5,000 fortune cookies with that same message buried inside, which I thought was just a splendid idea.
Gina, what are you up to now?
Just another one of Tony's harebrained marketing schemes. It's not enough that we've got all this, the piggy banks, the bobbleheads, the live well, die broke. We had to deliver 2,000 cardboard cutouts of Tony. You know, we've got it all. Now a prospective client brought up fortune cookies. So now I'm ordering 5,000 fortune cookies.
Okay. Well, you have fun with that. Chinese food does sound pretty good, though.
All right, folks, by the way, if you really are seriously thinking about working with somebody, I don't know if you need to go to a Chinese restaurant and get a fortune cookie, but please, please, please take advantage of our free fiduciary phone call. It takes only 10 minutes. You'll be talking to myself, the owner of the company, and we'll be happy to talk to you to see if we can be of help. And if we can, we're going to be able to meet at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. By the way, Aaron, you mentioned the TV show. We are in all of the major networks throughout Kentucky, Bowling Green, Louisville, and Lexington. So again, if you'd like to watch the TV show, many of you have told me on the radio show you weren't aware of the TV show. It's a great TV show, a little different flavor than this. Obviously, we have a lot of graphics and things. Again, if you want to look at the TV times, just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. As Aaron said earlier, hit that drop-down menu, and it'll share all the times of all of the TV and radio stations we're on throughout Kentucky, Indiana. Okay, so we're back to this case, an actual case where a young lady lost her husband unexpectedly. She's 61. She's trying to figure out whether she should start Social Security. She's trying to think, should she downsize her home? Should she pay off debts? How's she going to afford health insurance? What is she going to do now that she's going it alone? And maybe that's you. You are single for whatever reason, but you're also worried about being single. And in fact, what I thought we would do, Aaron, because this happened again, not that someone passed away, but a couple, the husband who takes care of all the finances, recently had a major heart attack, came to us for help because he realized, man, if I don't do something and get this game plan, my spouse could be in real trouble. So what I thought we would do, I'm going to go to my favorite son-in-law, Mr. Trey Juergens, to find out more about our game plans and this particular case we worked on. Let's go to Trey.
Welcome back, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Trey Juergens, full-time fiduciary here in the Louisville office. One thing Tony preaches to our staff is the importance of our proprietary income software. The game plans that we lay out for our clients, we refer to all the time. We actually had someone come in to visit with Tony, first appointment, and just recently had a cardiac issue, actually a heart attack, and it came to the realization that he had no game plan in place, and his wife really had no idea of their financial affairs. It actually took that for him to realize that he doesn't have a game plan, and he actually sat down and we came up with one for him. A game plan that both they and our staff can refer to make sure they're living a worry-free retirement.
All right, so back to our case study. Let me remember, a lot of this is based on cash flow. What most people in the financial world have not figured out in retirement planning is not investing your money at all cost and taking risk and disregarding fees and taxes and all that. Retirement planning is actually about cash flow. All we're trying to do is create enough income from the money you've saved to cover the expenses that you know you're going to have in retirement. And those expenses will change as you get older. So here's what we're going to suggest this young lady consider who's now a widow. First of all, I think she should pay off the home. She has $500,000 sitting in the bank, a $200,000 house with an $1,800 a month payment. That's principal and interest. We need to get that knocked out to reduce her cash flow needs or her expenses. So we're going to take the $200,000. Remember that life insurance. Thankfully, he had plenty of life insurance. Tax-free. Get that knocked out. She also has a car payment of $500 a month. Again, $15,000. No problem. We'll take the life insurance, knock that out. That saves her $500 a month. And then I think she said she was paying around $500 a month on this credit card. We're going to knock that out. That's only $5,000. So that's about, around $220,000. That still leaves her, Aaron, that's not bad math, is it? $260,000 in the bank?
Sure.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And she has no payments other than her normal course of business. In fact, if that's you right now, if you're sitting there saying, yeah, Tony, I don't really understand cash flow. We have a document you can download at our website at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. It's a download section. It's called the Spending Plan. This is a very useful tool so that you can actually see what you need net after tax. And then when we're working with you, we use that number to create the income you need to be worry-free. So what's happening is she's dropping more and more expenses off, which means we need less and less income. Now, here's the other key with that life insurance. She needs health insurance. We've decided she needs to go through the government exchange and purchase it there, but that can be very expensive unless you don't have a lot of taxable income. So what we're going to do, we're going to have her contact someone, go through the exchange. We don't do individual health insurance, folks. But basically, through the subsidies she will receive, it should be very inexpensive because she's going to live on some of those tax-free life insurance proceeds. Also, she could use her Roth. Also, our tax department will calculate at no cost what she can draw from the 401k that we're going to handle. So you see all the planning that's going into this, folks, to keep her expenses down. That is the point of retirement planning. The major mistake I see, and I meet with 20 to 30 people a week, you're out here running around talking to all these advisors and money managers trying to grow your money. Then everybody's talking about how much money they're going to make you, which most of the time, none of this stuff is guaranteed they're talking about. It's all just wishful thinking or going into the past and looking at what the market did. Folks, that has nothing to do with the future. In fact, this was interesting, Aaron. I shared this article with you. This article came out, this is really interesting, talking about gloom and doom. This came out, what is this, Market Watch on June 5th, 2023. Listen to this headline, Aaron. Americans are more afraid of running out of money than death. The subtitle says this: a majority, not a few, a majority of investors now consider regular financial crises to be an integral part of their retirement planning. How would you like to go into retirement thinking that, Aaron? That there's just going to be more and more chaos, I guess. Folks, it does not have to be that way. Well, sure, if you're risking your money, if you don't have a game plan, if you don't have a retirement specialist on board to help you, I guess that's what you do. You just throw up your hands and assume everything's going to be a financial crisis. But in this young lady's case, as we're getting ready to see, I'm going to take another quick break as I finalize this. As we're getting ready to see, we were able to help alleviate her fears, make sure her expenses were minimal, and also provide her some of that beloved
mailbox money.
Okay, take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to finalize this case study and show you how we help this young lady be worry-free, and we can help you too. I'm Tony Walker. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Do you have a 401k, IRA, 403b, thrift savings account, or lump sum pension that you'd like to move to safer territory? Did you know that all the money you see on your 401k statement isn't really yours? Depending on your overall taxable income, the government has essentially a lien on your 401k that can tax as much as 40% of your money when you go to take it out. Tony Walker calls this the 401k tax tumor. For almost 40 years, retirement specialist Tony Walker has helped thousands of savers worry less about money by creating game plans to deal with your tax tumor. Get control of your retirement by controlling the taxes owed on it. Schedule a free meeting to see if you can reduce your tax tumor and provide a guaranteed income you can never outlive. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
As much as you may love golf, you surely wouldn't risk your life by playing in conditions like this. Well, neither should you be risking your 401k by investing it all in the stock market. If you're retired, retiring soon, or going through a corporate downsize, keep your ball in the fairway by moving over your 401k to Tony Walker Financial and learn how to safeguard your money today. To learn more about our process and getting started, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. With the uncertainty of the stock market, our nation's debt spiraling out of control, and inflation running rampant, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. My name is Tony Walker, and for over 38 years I've made it my life's mission to help savers worry less about money, and I want to help you too. To speak with me at no cost or obligation, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Worry-Free Retirement. I am America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Warner. Got the TNT for you here, Tony. Let me read it to you. Tony, I've heard you talk about this notion of found money. What do you mean by found money? And can you provide some examples? Yeah, what is found money, Tony?
Good question. This came from Kathy out of Campbellsville. So found money is any significant amount of money you receive that you had previously not planned on receiving. For instance, it would be a sizable gift, an inheritance, a bonus at work, stock options from work, maybe unexpected sale of a property that you sold for a lot more than you thought, winning the lottery. So laugh out loud, although next week I'll be sharing an example of that. And actually our case study is an exact example of this. She received $500,000 tax-free of life insurance on her deceased husband that she knew did not exist. Does that make sense, Aaron? So It's like, oh, okay. But the thing is, folks, and we'll talk about this next week, found money can create more worries sometimes than not having it originally because found money is not in the plan. Your mind is not wrapped around this idea of receiving money, and as we'll see next week, can create a lot of problems, especially with inheritances. So you'll want to stay tuned next week for the program. It's going to be really cool on found money. Okay, in our time remaining, so how did we at Tony Walker Financial help this 61-year-old widow be worry-free after the unexpected loss of a husband who was making $120,000 a year and fortunately left her in pretty good shape, really mainly because of that life insurance? So what we did, we took the 401k from her husband, which was around $300,000. We transferred that into an IRA into her name. Folks, we'll do all this for you. There's no charge initially to set all this up. What we did in her case is we set it up in a split IRA concept. We put part of it in our Charles Schwab platform to provide her access and liquidity and additional income as she needs it. We charge a whopping 0.8% to do that. So let's say we put $100,000 in there. It's going to be $200 we charge every 3 months, but that's for everything. That's figuring out the tax withholdings. That's figuring out how much to draw out. That's all the game plan. That's all the planning. And that's about half of what most money managers charge. So I feel like we're charging half and probably in most cases doing twice as much. Then the rest of it we put in what we call a fixed indexed annuity with an income rider to provide guaranteed income for the rest of her life that she can rely on later on. We call that mailbox money. So we also took the life insurance. We left her some money in the bank. I mean, she needs that money in the bank since it's already after tax. But we put that into some investment accounts that could hopefully give her a little more growth, a little more stability, a little better interest. Again, that's after-tax money that we can use later on as well. So we got our cash flow needs down. We've reduced a lot of her expenses. We're keeping our fees down. We're available there for tax planning advice and other financial planning advice. We confirmed with her that it was okay to pay off all of the debts with the life insurance. And the basic premise here is, folks, this young lady now knows that she's got a fiduciary in her corner that's trained in the art of retirement planning to see her through retirement. Again, besides myself at Tony Walker Financial, this is a huge issue coming up, folks. I'm seeing more and more advisors retiring, getting out of the business, cutting back, dying, passing away. And what happens is many people are starting to come to us and say, Tony, we don't have the same advisor. We're not getting the same service. We need somebody in this thing for the long haul. That's why I have 3 salaried fiduciaries trained in the process. Besides myself is Heather Hughes, my favorite son-in-law, Trey, and my favorite nephew, Wes. So we are here to serve you, and we're here for the long haul. So if that sounds like you right now, if you really don't have a trusted advisor, you certainly don't have a written game plan, you have no clue what's going on, and you're just tired of worrying about your money, do this right now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You're going to want to click on that Let's Get Started button. You'll be receiving a personal phone call from yours truly, and if it warrants and we can help you, we will be happy to meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Or if you like, just give us a call at 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, next week we'll be talking about this concept of found money and how to be more worry-free when you find it. But in the meantime, I'm Tony Walker, and we'll see you next week on the Worry-Free Retirement.